him into the hot seat where if this isn't overkill, I don't know what is. But we're going to take some unsuspecting individual, give them 10 questions. They don't know what's coming. And today's guest is Matthew Leffler, the armchair attorney. How are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic, Bill. I'm worried you're in Mordor. Is that where you're at right now?
Yeah, we drummed this up and make it a little bit more dramatic, and this is where we're going to go from here. Are you ready for this?
I was born ready. I'm excited. Let's do this thing.
All right, 10 questions for you. First question, always the same, but still want to throw it out there. What is the number one problem your company or organization is trying to solve?
We're trying to make maintenance better for organizations across North America. Epika Fleet Services is a business that is trying to drive better maintenance practices for commercial vehicles all across the United States. And that's what we're trying to solve for our customers all across the country.
All right, number two, what is the best book you've ever read that has helped you in this industry? And this could not necessarily be a freight book, but could be of any kind of origin.
Raising a Modern Day Knight. It's about fatherhood and that understanding of how to approach people and to teach them and to bring young children into being adults and being men. That book has influenced me in unique and profound ways. So that's the book I would definitely say.
Switching gears completely, what is the best meal you've ever had when on the road? In other words, you make it a road trip, you go and you find someplace, the meal blows you away. What was it and where was it?
You know, I think about having a Maid-Rite over in the Quad Cities when I was visiting one of my favorite customers, one of the greatest trucking companies out there, Dorn Transfer. They're owned by Pitt Ohio Group. And I had the Maid-Rite with my dad because he loved Maid-Rites. These are loose meat sandwiches. If it sounds disgusting, that is what they are. It is designed to be that. It was a terrible meal, But my father did this with his mother for years, getting Maid-Rites. And in little city in the Quad Cities, they had a Maid-Rite, and we got a chance to stop and have some.
That sounds absolutely wonderful, from my personal own opinion. Number four, name something you think will be mainstream in 10 years that is not mainstream now.
I think it's going to be automation. I mean, we are seeing the cusp of really interesting things happen. We saw Kodiak make that deal with Pilot Flying J, and we're seeing that automation is not something that is far, far away. It is knocking on our door right now, and over the next 5-10 years, that technology will be ubiquitous in how we move freight.
All right, speaking of moving, let's say you're on a 1,000-mile road trip, you're stuck in the cab, you have one podcast that you can listen to other than your own. What would it be?
Hardcore History with Dan Carlin. If you have not heard of Hardcore History with Dan Carlin, do yourself a favor. Each episode is 4 to 5 hours long.
Wow.
And you will listen to it and you will say, why isn't it longer? His series on World War I, Blueprint from Armageddon, is over, I think, 20 hours, but it is absolutely phenomenal storytelling. That is the podcast I recommend everybody check out.
Wow. All right, number 6. What company in freight, besides your own again, are you most impressed with right now?
I gotta say Steam Logistics, and it's not so much about what they're doing in the business sense. I mean, they seem to be a great freight brokerage company. I admire that, but their stance and their activism along non-competition agreements. These documents that have ruined so many lives for so many people for so long. I mean, in the United States, maybe 30 million people have some iteration of a non-competition agreement. And what Steve has started with the End Non-Competes movement and the magnitude of the followers behind that, I think that is one of the best things we're going to see out of freight at any company, is what they're doing over there.
All right. And this question, by the way, this next question specifically tailored for you. What one law you'd like to see the federal government change with regard to the freight industry?
Oh my goodness. That's a really tough question. So what laws do we not necessarily like? What modifications? I will say,
got to pick one.
I am not a fan of the apprenticeship driver program. I do not think that we should have people under the age of 21 operating interstate commerce, driving trucks. The challenge we have as an industry, finding more bodies or more meat for the grinder, is not solved by young people that are not trained in mountains, that are not trained in weather, and they're not trained at night. These are things that are just a recipe for something catastrophic. So that would be the one thing, if I could focus on anything, that would be the one thing I would say.
Well put there. Number 8, if you could add one class or perhaps teach one class at a college or university that is needed for supply chain majors to complete, what would it be? What would you add to the curriculum?
Negotiation.
Okay.
Every single person needs to benefit from learning how to properly negotiate, not with your customers or your vendors, but with your employer. That same thing we talk with Steam Logistics on non-competition agreements. You train someone to negotiate properly, they're not going to have to sign those documents. So that is the thing I would say more than anything is how do we get people to be more comfortable negotiating for themselves?
All right. Number 9, wild card question here for you. Think hard. Best FreightWaves TV personality.
Oh, you're going to get me in trouble. You're going to get me in trouble.
That's why I got the fire behind me.
I'll have to say, Grace and Blythe.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's got to be, I love Grace. I love Blythe. I can't say both. Those are the two people I love the most. Absolutely.
All right. Okay.
And you, Bill. I say you. Can I just have you be you?
Oh, I come in a distant third. Come on.
All right. That's the pantheon right there.
Last one. Complete this sentence. Freight is blank.
Hard. Freight is hard. This business is not easy. It has never been easy. There is nothing more difficult than safely delivering freight on time and undamaged. And if you think you can come in this business and it's not going to be difficult, you will be surprised. It is not easy, but it's necessary. And I love the men and women that keep our country moving.
Matt Leffler, you are off the hot seat.